Welcome back to another episode of the Your Houston podcast. This is Mario Castillo, Your Houston Executive Director. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you catch all of our episodes as soon as they get released. Today, we're talking to Gloria Zenteno, the founder and executive director of Barrio Dogs, a nonprofit she created because she saw a need in her community. She's a native Houstonian that wanted to give back and make a difference. Barrio Dogs focuses on educating people on the importance of spaying and neutering their pets and teaching youth about the importance of responsible pet ownership. We're excited to get to speak with Gloria today, and we have a lot to talk about, so we'll dive right in.
I feel the liftoff. The clock has started. Roger.
All right, we are very excited to be here today speaking with Gloria Zenteno, the founder and executive director of Barrio Dogs. Before we get into Barrio Dogs, we're going to ask you a few questions just to get to know you a little more. We call this our liftoff segment. So first up, what is your favorite restaurant in Houston?
Oh, goodness. There's so many. But I would say what's fresh on my mind right now is Viarcos.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more so because it's family owned. It has a long history in the East End, and they just reopened, and I'm just so excited about that. So
Have you been by since they reopened?
I haven't been by, but I'm just thinking about it all the time. But yes, I do plan on going by and going often.
Yes, I haven't been since they reopened, but it's a fantastic spot.
Yeah.
The history, the food,
Yes.
everything. It's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Glad it's back.
Me too.
I have to ask you this question. Do you have a favorite dog breed?
Oh, that one's easy. A mixed mutt rescue.
Okay.
A former street dog, since we deal with a lot of that in our community, unfortunately.
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah.
My dog is from a shelter. He's mixed dachshund with a number of other things, but yes, wouldn't trade him in for anything else.
Great. Good.
If you could have a conversation with somebody, past, present, who would it be?
Oh, wow. A past president?
Oh, past or present. So someone could be from the past or someone current.
Oh, Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Just because he so unique, right? I mean, he was just, what he brought to our country and his leadership. And I felt like, we had, there wasn't as much division as there is currently. And so, yes, I think he's amazing. And his wife, too.
Well, you still may get a chance to speak with one of them at some point in the future.
Okay. Let's hope.
Yes. Well, we're really excited to have you here today to learn more about Barrio Dogs and all of the great work it does and what's coming up down the road and how people can get involved if they want to. So to start, you're the founder of this organization. What pushed you to take this step and create a nonprofit organization?
Yeah, I mean, every day I wonder that myself because it wasn't in the plans. I was in corporate most of my career, almost 30 years with one corporation. And my husband and I decided to move back to the old neighborhood where we grew up. And it was nearly 15, 16 years ago. And I was horrified with the amount of stray dogs, dogs on chains, dead animals. And I would go to my really great job in the Galleria at that time, and I'd see a totally different life over there. People walking their animals on leashes and little outfits and drinking their Starbucks. And then I would come home and I would see these tragedies in our community every day. And we were dug in. We were invested. We were not moving anywhere. And so I just said, we have got to do something about this. And I started researching a lot of rescue groups, great ones doing great work. But I felt like for Barrio Dogs, we needed to do something different, and that is education and community. And that's how it was born. People think we're a rescue group, but we do way more than that. We get into the schools. We were just at Yes Prep East End, almost 150 kids. We were at Cage Elementary, again, about 100 kiddos. And then we plan on being at Carrillo Elementary, 130 students this week on Thursday.
All right.
So we love doing the education work because we feel like the children are our future and we need to invest in them. And then our community outreach, we do 2 events a year called Fix It. We do one spring Fix It and one fall Fix It. And this year we have it planned for April 15th. It'll be in Manchester Park. And we believe this will be our biggest one to date. We're planning on signing up 200 pets for free spay, neuter, vaccination, and microchip. They'll receive all of that for free. We do the funding. We have partnerships, like Councilmember Gallegos this year is giving us some funding. Valero is too. So that is why we're going to be able to do way more than we have in the past. And so when they come to the event, we make sure that they have collars and leashes and understand the leash law and why their animals shouldn't be roaming the streets. We have partners like Houston Humane Society that will bring nutritional pet food so that they know they're supposed to be eating really good food.
Yep.
And then, of course, the veterinarians that we partner with that do the signups, they talk about, the importance of all of that, the vaccinations and microchip especially now, because that's an ordinance for the city of Houston now.
So this is April 15th. Are there still spots available?
We haven't broadcast it yet, and the reason is those spots go quick.
Yeah.
But we're already in communication with Councilmember Gallegos' office, and what they do is they contact their civic associations, their schools, and they get the word out to them first, because we have to be specific to our zip code area, unfortunately.
Yep.
If we didn't, we would have, 500 easy coming. So we have to be really specific and target those specific zip codes. And that's something I didn't mention with Barrio Dogs. We focus primarily in the East End.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally understand the zip code specific work.
Yeah.
We're involved in zip code specific work ourselves.
Yes.
But that's fantastic, and hopefully you have 200 folks lined up ready to go, because that makes a big impact in that area.
It's definitely going to make a big impact, and we need to make big impacts because the problem is just it's really bad. I mean, Barrio Dogs, we just celebrated our 13th anniversary. And we've been doing amazing work in the community, but unfortunately the problem is still there. And I think that, the animals just reproduce faster than we can keep up with, that people still don't understand the importance of, the leash laws and how easy there is access to either low cost or free spay and neutering, and why that's so important. So it's a big challenge. And unfortunately, it's not just in the East End. It's the entire city of Houston, primarily inner cities like Fifth Ward, Denver Harbor, Sunnyside. It's a big problem. I mean, the public really doesn't know how bad it is in the city of Houston, unfortunately.
Well, you talked about it earlier. Some areas it's bad, and some areas it isn't. So you have some people that realize how big the problem is, and others that don't see it because they're probably not living that day to day.
True, but it's also that these communities that we focus in are low income, and they don't have the access, and they can't afford it. So a lot of times people will say, well, they just don't understand. I mean, they need to get their animals fixed. Well, these are innocent people. They'll take in a stray dog, and then it has a litter of puppies, and then they're just overwhelmed. So what are they going to pay? Their light bill or their groceries? It's very expensive to take care of animals. People just don't realize how expensive it is.
So you talked about the education component in schools. What are the full list of services that Barrio Dogs provides?
So when we come into the schools, we'll do a presentation, and we'll bring one of our former street dogs, which usually is great for the kids. Each student will leave with information they'll get a coloring book, a Barrio Dogs coloring book, and it tells the story through the coloring book about why you take your dog or cat to the veterinarian, why you make your dog and cat part of your family, proper nutrition. And so just all those basics, a proper shelter, and that your dog shouldn't be chained up outside, and that it needs exercise. So they all leave with that literature. But also is important information for their parents or family about who we are, what we can provide. Not only can we provide free spay neuter vaccinations and microchip, we also help people that are in emergency situations because, unfortunately people will not realize, that their dog needs allergy injections or got a serious ear infection. Heartworm disease is really big. Those are all curable, and we would like to see them be able to keep their pets because sadly some of them will say, I just can't afford it, so I'm probably going to have to put my animal to sleep, which is so devastating. So we do help out in those situations too. Another project, so that's our Youth in Paws, and then our Fix It is in the community. But something we started as a result of COVID is our Neighborhood Advocates Project.
Okay.
And that came about because we were inundated with phone calls during COVID. People were getting displaced. They couldn't keep their pets. They lost their jobs. They didn't have funding for the veterinarian, food. So we started helping out as much as we could in that area, partnering with elected officials and doing big drives, distribution drives. But the other thing is we realized that people don't know the basic things. They don't know the difference between bark. They don't know the difference between Houston SPCA, Houston Humane Society. What do I do when I see a stray dog? What do I do if I want to report animal cruelty? So we started these neighborhood advocate webinars, and we'd have a guest speaker and we'd have talks about what they can do. And we were really proud that year we got several people calling elected officials and even speaking in front of council.
Wow.
Yeah, in support of some recent ordinances that happened January 2022. So yeah, so those are the three big ones. It's 3 programs: our Youth in Paws, our Fix It, and Neighborhood Advocates.
Got it. Okay, so that's quite a bit going on.
I know.
And that's primarily focused east part of Houston. Do y'all, I know that you mentioned there are other organizations. Do y'all work together or
Yes.
partner with other animal advocacy groups?
Yes, absolutely. So if folks reach out to us and they're not in the East End zip codes, we have partners, and Barrio Dogs has a sister organization called Unity for Solution. Very similar concept to Barrio Dogs, except that it works in other communities like Fifth Ward or Denver Harbor or South Side or Acres Home, those communities that are in dire need of these services. And then there's others. We work closely with Houston Pet Set. They definitely Empty the Shelter Project. So we make sure that if somebody reaches out to us and if we can't help them because of our zip code, we're going to get somebody else to do it.
That's great. I mean, it's a big city. There's lots of issues, and y'all focusing on one area, being able to direct people to services that are in different areas helps make sure people don't fall through the cracks.
Right. Yes.
If somebody is listening or watching and they are really, motivated by your work in this organization, are there opportunities for volunteering?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we're always looking for people to help out and just come and see our work. I usually encourage people to just come see what we do. So our Barrio Dogs Spring Fix It in Manchester would be a great one. Also, when we do school initiatives, if they want to come and just see what we do as far as a presentation. We're always looking for people who want to help us with social media or just any kind of administrative needs. I can definitely put you to work.
Great. Do you all have a website?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So we're all over social media. Our website is barriodogs.org. It's BARRIODOGS.org. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we just recently got on TikTok.
Oh,
that
wow. Okay.
That was encouraged by some younger people for me to get out there for our 13th anniversary. I'm not sure about TikTok.
As someone who just posted his first reel ever, I can tell you it's an intimidating space to try and move into.
Yes. Well, yeah, one thing I didn't mention is, I said we're not rescue, but, out of necessity and as a responsibility of our community, if we see a dog or a cat that's suffering are hurt, we're going to step in and help. So we do have some rescues in our program. We have a few rescues currently. We have Rex, who I witnessed him getting hit by a car. He was in shock, and it took a little while, but with help with some other gals, we got him to ER. Thank God no breaks, no fractures. He did have to get a few stitches, but he's an amazing dog. He's like a border collie mix, and so super smart, but Rex needs a home. And then Rudy, we found at Mason Park during one of our events. He was skin and bones and homeless, and he is full of energy, like a young pup. He's gorgeous, kind of a tan pitty mix. And then we work closely with a lot of veterinarians in the community, and Gulf Gate Animal Hospital is one of them. And they called me and they said that somebody had left 4 new puppies, born puppies, in a box in their front door. And they asked if we could help somehow. So we started spreading the word, and we have adopted 2 of them, but we still have 2 more. And it's Tux and Carlos, and they are adorable. They're 6 months old. They have all their vaccinations. They just recently got fixed, and they're ready to go. So if anybody's interested in Rex, Rudy, Carlos, and Tux, please reach out to me.
How do they get in touch with you?
You can contact me via email at gloria@barriodogs.org, or if you Google Barrio Dogs, we have a phone number. It's 281-825-7834. So we're on Pet Finder. That's another reason why I got on TikTok, to try to promote some of our dogs that we've had for a long time. We have maybe a handful. We don't get into the, big amount like a lot of rescue groups do, because we have to stay focused on the prevention side with education and our programs with the Fix It. But I just feel like it's just difficult to turn our backs on them, and we partner with other groups to see if we could possibly get them placed, or even do transporting.
Yeah, I've heard about the sending dogs to Colorado and other places.
Yeah, so transporting's a big thing. And in the beginning, I was really not in favor, because I felt like that's an expensive initiative, and it's like Houston is sending their problem off to another state. And why don't we take more ownership of this? We've really got to get our hands wrapped around it. But in the end, the animals are being saved, and I've transported with some groups. Houston Pets has helped me out before, Lucky Dog Rescue, and also K911. So I got to give a shout out to them, because they've helped us transport a few dogs to other states.
Okay. You talked about some changes to city ordinances recently. Are there further changes y'all are looking to help achieve locally, or even now in Austin, the legislature's meeting? Are there any bills that you're pushing for, or changes you're trying to make at the state level?
Yeah, so on the state level, the breeding regulation is called SB 876, and I was just there and spoke in front of the Senate committee, John Whitmire's committee, in favor of regulating breeding, because we have too many breeders that, 30% of the dogs in Texas shelters and in rescue groups are purebred and originally done for profit. So I just feel like we need to regulate that more. There's a lot of opposition. People don't want to be told that they can't do that, or people like to preserve the breed, like a Pomeranian. And it's tough. It's a tough battle. So on the Texas level, that bill has not passed. But I'm happy to say that on the city level, we have passed some regulations on breeding, and backyard breeders, flea market breeders, roadside sales. There is an ordinance for that for the city of Houston. How well it's being enforced, it's tough. Resources are limited. That's another problem with BARC. Unfortunately, there's some amazing people working at BARC, but unfortunately we don't have enough resources or funding that's going to that budget. And I think that if we did, we'd be able to really tackle some of these backyard breeders, roadside breeders, and flea market breeders better. Some other ordinances that recently passed, I mentioned the microchip ordinance, which I'm really glad about that. And that just helps these shelters kind of reconnect with pet owners, because if not, they're just going to linger in the shelters, and, the odds are against them. And then the pet retail stores. The city of Houston has 6 pet retail stores that had to conform to the new ordinance. Prior to this ordinance, they were shipping animals from puppy mills into our city and selling these dogs for very expensive amounts, talking thousands, and would get people into these contracts. And even if the dog ended up being sick, they're still obligated to that contract. So in my opinion, it's a very shady business, and I just don't believe in using animals for commodity, and especially in a city as large as Houston that already has an animal overpopulation problem. So I mentioned the breeding, pet retail stores, and also the chaining. The chaining, it's gotten more stricter, so if somebody ties up their animal, they need to make sure that they're not out there 24/7, that they have coverage, they have access to water and food. So that one's definitely improved. And also leaving your animals in really frigid weather. I think it's like they can't be left outside if it's like 36 degrees, which honestly I think it should be higher than that. But
that seems pretty cold.
I know, right? But it's on the books. And that came about because we had that really bad cold snap. It was a couple of years ago. It was terrible. There was dogs that, unfortunately did not make it.
Yeah.
So it's just really sad. I mean, we've got to do better for our animals because they're part of the community.
They are. They absolutely are. Are there other cities that have programs or policies in place that work that could be brought to Houston?
Certainly Dallas and Austin. Austin has always been kind of more progressive. Dallas and even San Antonio is doing better than Houston. So we have a lot of work to do.
We can't let them all do better than
That's
Houston.
right. That's right. I agree. I'm a native Houstonian, and I really want to work on improving our ordinances and also, when able, go to the state capitol.
So we talked about how people can volunteer, but as a nonprofit, we all know we have to raise money as well. Is there opportunities coming up for people to support Barrio Dogs financially?
Yeah, so we have an event called Wags and Wine. It's a social, and it's happening May 11th, and we're going to have it at the historic firehouse in the East End, in Second Ward, actually.
Okay.
So if anybody's interested, it's a great event because the wine distributor is giving 50% of the proceeds back to Barrio Dogs. And we'll have some silent auction items and other ways to raise money. And it's a great opportunity to bring somebody in that maybe doesn't know about our work, but also that likes wine.
Wags and wine. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that combo.
Yeah, so that's May 11th, and it'll be 6:30 to 8. Yeah, but we'll have it on our social media. And again, if you want to donate, there's other ways you can donate. You can go to our website, barriodogs.org, and look at the donate button. And there's all ways you can send a check or use credit card. We appreciate any kind of support.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to visit with us. We've learned quite a bit about your organization and all the great work that y'all do, the east side of Houston. This is a big problem, and it takes a lot of work from dedicated people that are committed, volunteers, donations.
Yes.
And this is a citywide issue. So imagine the amount of resources that we need, number of organizations, number of people committed to it. So we appreciate your time and all the great things that y'all are doing, and hopefully some volunteers and maybe even some donations can come your way from our podcast.
Yay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Gloria, for being with us today. We had a great time talking to you and learning all about the different programs and services offered by Barrio Dogs, and they're still looking for a good home for Rex and Tux and a bunch of other great dogs. So don't hesitate to reach out to Gloria if you're interested in adopting. They have a wine and wag event coming up on May 11th and a big spay and neuter event on April 15th down in the East End. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you catch all of our podcast episodes as they get released. Thank you.